Go. And we're live. So Nin, if you want to just take off that countdown screen, stop sharing your screen, that would be awesome. Hello, Fearless. Welcome, guys. We are here for another Tactical Tuesday. So I'm excited about this one, and I'm trying not to be so excited because, as we all know, with AI, things change quickly. Stuff goes smooth and not smooth. And so I'm trying to be less excited than I am about this, but we got some pretty cool stuff to share with you tonight. So tonight's guest is Marlena. Now, Marlena is a busy homeschooling mom, investor herself, as you'll hear in her presentation that she's sharing with us. She's very well versed in the investing world, and been a teacher, a tech player, someone who loves playing techie stuff. And she's been delving into this world of AI. And because she's an investor, of course, she's applying it to investing. So yay, lucky us. She's going to be sharing with us tonight. So some pretty exciting stuff. We have the release of our custom GPT that we've been working on for the last few months. Really exciting. So for those of you that voted on a name or suggested a name, and then we had the poll where everyone voted. So there was a winner. We've been sitting on it for a couple of weeks, and it's really hard not to call it this because it's now the lingo. But I'm trying really hard not to call it by its name until we announce its name. But that GPT is going to be released tonight. So you get to have as much fun as I've been having over the last few months playing with this baby and just testing it and seeing, like, all right, almost can I stump it a little bit? And sometimes you can. The beauty of a custom GPT, and Marlena's going to explain more about this, so is that there are bars behind it, and there's certain things that she has programmed it to make sure that it doesn't go beyond, because otherwise you end up down all these rabbit holes, right? So, but anyway, super fun. So we're going to announce that. She's going to run through a few things with us, teach us how to specifically prompt for real estate investors. So, we're all learning how to prompt different things, right? But what are some specific prompts that we can use as investors that are already like tried, tested, and true? So yeah, we're going to run through all of that kind of stuff tonight. So welcome. Let me know where you're from, who's watching, where are you from? I'm just going to check and make sure that I'm seeing comments tonight. Again, depends on what mood Facebook is in, right? Sometimes I'll see the comments, sometimes I won't. We'll just see how tonight is. In the meantime, let me just see here, make sure my sound is off for this. And yeah, not seeing comments yet tonight. So if there are any questions, throw them in the chat. The girls will make sure that I see them. So that will all be great. Okay. One more thing. All right. I'm going to bring Marlena on. So tonight, as a very busy homeschooling mama and someone who is running all over the place and in an investor and in the tech world and all that stuff, She is not in a place that is appropriate to have her camera on. So she's going to be with us from behind the scenes. So I'm just it's going to spotlight you, Marlena, I believe. Let me see here. And I'm just going to unmute you there.
Sorry, I had unmuted, so you muted me.
I kind of thought that happened right at that moment. So welcome. You know how excited I am about this.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I've called you a magician many times because I'm not joking, you guys. Sometimes I will say something to Marlena and I'm not joking. A few days ago, it was within 3 minutes that we talked about something, and then something came through to my phone, and I looked at it, and it was what we talked about. Like, magician. So, I'm in awe of what you do. You know that I want to hear more. Maybe you can give us an intro and let us know what we're going to be talking about tonight. Who are you, and what are we doing?
Sounds good. Well, is it all right if I go ahead and share my screen and put the presentation up?
You
Right,
betcha.
sounds good. All right. So let me go ahead and make sure that that's up. Can you see my screen?
Sure can.
Okay, I don't know why I'm not able to see it on there. Hold on one second. Just let me make sure I can see. You're seeing the whole thing, correct?
I am. Yeah, I'm seeing the whole. Yeah, not just the presentation, but your whole desktop, I think.
Um, okay, well, hold on a second. Let me make sure what you're actually seeing because um, I'm so sorry about this. I thought we had this all set up and now all of a sudden it's working differently.
So good. I just sent you a picture. I just texted it to you. You can take a peek at it. We're all good. We are used to doing this live, and so we're used to things not going well. Plus, we're investors, so we're also used to things not going so well.
Sure.
That's name of the
Well,
game.
thank you. I appreciate the the patience here. Well, I could just leave it like this, and if I can figure it out in a minute, we'll get that going. So hopefully you're seeing a slide now with me and my family on here.
You sure are.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll just kind of wing it. So thank you all for bearing with me. So as Tiffany mentioned, I used to be a teacher, as did my husband, and both of us were teaching very, sorry? Is
Nope,
there
sorry, that
an
was my
interruption?
fault. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Both of us were teaching, I taught high school and college and I was teaching very long hours. My husband was an elementary school teacher. And I'm sure you all know with the teaching field, you don't really make much money and it's a pretty thankless job. And we both really enjoyed what we did and our students and everything, but we had a daughter who we weren't really getting a whole lot of time with. And so I just started thinking, I really want to be homeschooling my child. And so I kind of took a leap of faith out of teaching and ended up getting into real estate investing, which was a huge game changer for our family. And so that image there is us in Santorini in 2019. We took off with our older daughter there and our two younger children. And we went for 26 days and kind of, I call it backpacking, but we would stay in Airbnbs in different locations for 2 or 3 days at a time and went across 3 different countries. And we had a wonderful time. And it's one of my favorite stories to tell because we, from start to finish, closed 3 real estate deals while we were there. And we had an acquisitions person at home. And when we first got to Rome, when we first arrived, he decided that it really wasn't for him. And, good kid. And we all, parted ways amicably, but we had to pick up everything in our business and do it from the road. And I was telling Tiffany, we were actually hiking in Cinque Terre with our kids. You can see there, my child's in a sling on me and on a backpack with my husband. And so we hiked through 3 different towns in Cinque Terre and I was on my phone. So here's my first bit of technology doing deals on my phone, creating contracts, sending them to sellers for e-signature, negotiating as we're walking, having a wonderful time throughout our trip and getting deals done, sitting outside at cafes and talking to sellers that are calling in. So I have
Right?
always been very tech focused and automation focused because there is so much that you can do with just a computer and a phone. But oh my goodness, as AI has come on the scene, it has just exploded my ability to do so many things. And just a little bit more background, in college, I worked in a computer lab. And then when I was a teacher, I was kind of the resident tech support person and I would build websites for the other teachers. And then when I got into real estate investing, I started using a CRM system that you could kind of build out yourself. And so I built all sorts of automations, and I'll be the first to tell you, I know nothing about coding. I just kind of figured things out as I went along and found out what other people were doing and kind of copy pasted. And that's still a lot of what I do today. But I'm super
which is
powered today.
incredible. I mean, it's
Thank you for
incredible.
saying that.
It is. That's more talented than if you were a coder or had all this background. So I think that's what makes me so amazed by you is the fact that you're just like, well, I'm not exactly sure how that'll work, but give me a few minutes and I'll work on that. And then you figure it out. So to me, and that's what we do as investors, right? In real estate, you transaction engineer, you figure it out, you solve problems for people, you whatever you do, it's the same thing. It's just now you're applying it to, you probably do it in all areas of your life, but now to AI in real estate. So super yeah, lots of respect. I love how your brain works. I wish I had it. But anyways, I'm so glad we've partnered. So guys, we are working on a lot of projects together and just lots of really cool stuff coming down the pipeline here. So one of which is being released tonight. And then we'll give you a little sneak peek of some of the stuff that's coming. But I'll let you get back to your presentation, Marlena.
And yeah, I agree with everything that you're saying. I mean, we as real estate investors, if we're doing it right, we're problem solvers. We're helping people. And that's why we get paid so well for what we do. And so it's the same thing with AI stuff. I mean, be curious, look for the problems that are either in front of you on your own plate or in the world around you, and find ways to use the AI to help you build solutions around those things. It really isn't rocket science, I promise, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to do what I do. And Tiffany's right. Sometimes she says something and I'm like, I could figure that out. And it's a lot of fun for me and I like to tinker. And so I do a lot of stuff in a lot of different directions outside of real estate and for a lot of people. And I just really enjoy it. So I really want to encourage everybody to go play around with it and find the stuff that you like, get used to using it. It will supercharge everything that you're doing in your life, especially your real estate business.
Totally.
All right, so what we're going to cover tonight, we're just going to go through 4 basic things. I know you've all had some exposure with some other speakers to the basics of AI. So we are going to talk a little bit about how to talk to an LLM. And then step 2 in your journey, I mean, if you're a beginner, you've probably talked to an LLM, but you may not even really know how to talk to an LLM. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then step 2 is learning how to train the LLM like I did with the custom GPT Scout that you'll have access to, and I hope that you really enjoy using. And then step 3, go ahead.
So stop your screen share.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm so glad that you did it and not me. Did everybody catch that? Did everybody catch that we have a winning name for our GPT? So our GPT name, hang on, so comments come in 20 seconds or so after the questions are asked. So did anyone catch that? Did anyone hear it? Or is it just me? Let me see here. I did. Okay. Let's see. Oh, maybe it's just one person that did. Oh, okay. Well, maybe we'll just, you know what? You said it fast enough that they didn't hear, I think.
Oh,
So
sorry
tell you
about
what,
that. I didn't even think about that.
right? But Tyson's got his thumbs up. Oh, okay, we did hear it. So you know what? Why don't we just pause and why don't we release the winner of the GPT name, and and then we can actually use the name for the rest of the training and we don't have to be so careful. Does that work for you?
Sounds good.
Okay. All right, guys. So as you know, we put out about a month ago, we put out a post and said like, hey, we've got this ChatGPT property analyzer, just for real estate investment coming. What should we name this GPT? And it's funny because I automatically was saying, oh, what should we name her all along and that sort of thing. And then you guys suggested some names and then we put them, as you know, into a poll. And you guys, fearless investors, you guys chose the name. And the name is Kate. I don't know if you can hear the drum roll, but the name that won, also we had a $200 Costco gift certificate for the person who did win. And wouldn't you have it? So isn't it interesting how momentum creates momentum? But the winner, the name that won, is Scout. So Scout GPT is the new fearless real estate investors GPT that helps us analyze properties, neighborhoods, think of the things we didn't think about. Marlena has done a beautiful job of making this as friendly and mind-blowing for me as I can think of it. So, all right, and drum roll, that's right, George. Scout GPT. So Corrine Lowen, that was your name, Corey. So for those of you that saw, and we haven't put a lot of pictures out yet, but we had an event on the weekend in Calgary. Thank you for everyone who came out. Super fun. Corey, got occupancy or almost has occupancy. And so we were able to do a tour of her 10-plex. Single mama did this 10-plex from the ground up, buying the land, full development. And she's now at lease up stage. So how exciting. So we had a little open house, and thank you guys all for coming out. So what do you guys think of her name? Yeah, we got some clapping. Thanks, Janie. So yeah, Scout is it, and Corey, you're the winner. So now that we've got that out of the way, yeah, congratulations for sure. I don't know if Corey's actually on. She usually is, but I don't see her chiming in, and I know she would be. But she'll be on in laser with us in a little bit here. So, okay, now that that's out of the way, now we can use the name Scout anytime we want. So let's do it. Let's get back to your presentation, Marlena, and we'll you can use the word Scout as much as you want.
That sounds good. All right, let me see if I can get my stuff back on the screen here. I think I found the proper.
Yep, I think it's coming.
Hopefully that's better this time. All right, so the custom GPT level, and there are some different things that you can do where you can work with training the LLM a bit. Now, I will make just a simple note here that if you've ever done any extensive work with an LLM, you might have noticed that it's very good at drifting, especially if you have a very long conversation with it. And that's because it has a certain context window and it can start to lose that over time, especially if you kind of meander all over the place. And most people that I know, myself included, if you actually are really talking to these things, you'll figure that out as you go and start to get frustrated. I see so many people say, oh, it doesn't work anymore. So that's where you need to learn how to train the LLM. So we'll talk a little bit about some of the things that you can do to do that this evening. Then step 3, and this is where I've been operating. I mean, I started real estate investing in 2011, and I started working on my own workflows probably by like 2012, 2013. It was pretty early on. So I've been messing around with that stuff for quite some time. I used to use Zapier a lot. Make is very similar, and I hear it's more recommended now than Zapier. I eventually figured out how to do things a little bit more techy in the background. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do in there to build automations, but if you've never actually built automations to connect different pieces of whatever infrastructure you're using to run your business, I highly recommend starting to play around with some of that stuff. And especially even more so now with all the options that there are, but this stuff has been around for some time. And if you're not using it, you're really selling yourself short on the productivity that you could increase just by doing some simple automations. And then step 4 is deploying agents. And so many of you probably haven't heard of it, but many of you may have, that there is now something called OpenClaw. There are different agents that are being developed now, and OpenClaw is one of the biggest ones that's been kind of taking the world by storm in the past few months. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that as well, and what you can do if you want to utilize some of that and make it easy on yourself instead of having to do what I've been doing, which is a little bit more complex. So that's what we're going to cover this evening. Any questions, Tiffany, or anybody?
Just one comment I will make quite quickly. So if you don't know what an LLM is, it's a language model. So it's basically things like ChatGPT or Claude, Copilot, Gemini, any of those, what we would call AI models that you can talk to and ask things to. So we'll leave it at that for those who didn't know. And then, yeah, go for it. Keep on rolling.
All righty. So step 1, talking to an LLM. This is the foundation. You really can't skip this one. And I'm going to just say, when ChatGPT came onto the scene, I initially was like, oh, what's this? And I started talking to it and I'm like, that's kind of interesting. And my husband, it was kind of funny because my husband's using it as like it's Google. And I'm like, you're not supposed to use it that way. But you know what? I should have followed his lead, which I eventually did. I started using it for everything. I really don't even Google things anymore because it can Google for you. So I highly recommend really delving deeply with your LLM, exploring it in every way that you can. It's a large language model, and talking to it, talking to the different ones to get to know their personalities, I again highly recommend and encourage. So how they work, just real briefly, and I know you've been exposed to some of this, so I'm not going to go too much into it, but they don't actually think. A lot of people, I've heard people say they're becoming sentient, and I really think that it's like becoming like it can actually think and feel things, and they don't actually think. They're just programmed to predict based on what you're saying and the wealth of knowledge that they have from the world, from everything that exists and historically existed. They take your words, they generate the next most likely words based on patterns from their training data, and that's it. So it is really good at responding to things that are going on, and it can help you think through things that you may not be thinking of yourself. So it's really good to say things like, hey, I have this idea about this. I'm not really sure where to go with it. I'd like to do this, but I can't even see like the bigger picture of what that would look like. And it can help you brainstorm and guide you through things that you might want to do. So don't assume that you have to know what to tell it. Explore with it, ask it to help you think things through, and you'll come up with a lot better answers and solutions to things that you're looking at than you would on your own. Because
And that's what I really appreciate about the prompting guide for real estate investors that you put together for us, and we're also releasing tonight. So guys, at the end of this little presentation, you are going to get a link in the chat to be able to download this Scout. So download this custom GPT property analyzer and play with it. It's super fun. There's also a guide that comes with it that Marlena put together, and the guide is really this is what I really appreciate about your prompting. I'm a real estate investor. I've also been into AI for over a year now, like quite I'm obsessed with it. I'm not good at it, but I'm into it. I understand it. And yet some of the prompting specifics that you gave for us as real estate investors specifically, I was like, that makes so much sense. And so I've been doing that now with every single prompt that I ask it. And yeah, it's just so much better. So I love that you're actually going to show us some of the tangible stuff of like, yeah, let's good prompts, bad prompts, blah, blah, blah. We hear that all the time, but what's good and bad for us specifically as investors? And you just totally cleared the air. So it's awesome.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, realistically, you'll find that a good prompt is going to get you a really good answer, and a bad prompt is going to get you a answer. And you might be like, well, that's not helpful. I have a friend that's
Right.
like, it's no better than Google. Well, I'm like, well, that's how you're using it. If you just use it like Google instead of really getting into a conversation with it, then
Yeah.
it's going to give you the results that you're asking for.
Yeah.
So, and this prompting, the way that you're talking to it, it explains why hallucinations happen. It also explains personality differences between the different models. So we'll talk a little bit about some of this stuff because I think it's really cool. I've used a lot of the different AIs, nowhere near exhausted all the stuff that's out there, just saying. So I'm sure there's a million things that are not in this presentation that I've never heard of. So always feel free to share that stuff with each other if you find something cool that works. But this is your
Right.
core level. All right, and then your good prompts versus bad prompts. So a bad prompt, write me an email to a lender. I mean, it'll do it, but it is not going to have your voice. It's not going to know the details of what you're aiming for. So the best prompt that you can give is being really specific about who you are, what your angle is, the way that you would normally talk to people. You can even upload content like downloaded emails, for example, or other forms of writing that you've done that you want it to study and then reproduce in your specific voice. So that's something that we actually did with the custom GPT with Scout, was give it Tiffany's voice. So as you mess around with it a little bit, you should start to hear a little bit that sounds like Tiffany in there because we trained it on that. Okay,
And
and
I
you can do that.
apologize in advance. And it's actually not my voice yet, my like physical voice that sounds like me, but it's all in like my languaging. And sometimes Marlena, like where I'm like, do I really say these things? And it's like, yeah, actually, yeah, I do actually. So good prompt. Can I read your good prompt?
Go for it.
Okay, so I'm a Canadian real estate investor who raises private capital from accredited lenders. Write me a 150-word email to a lender I've worked with twice before. updating them on my renovation project that's 3 weeks delayed due to supply chain issues. The tone, be honest about the delay, but be confident about the outcome. So you're giving it so much more context. And that is something that we can literally copy and paste, most of us. And it's such a better, like for me, the prompt I would give it is, okay, I'm running late on a project. I want to make sure that my investors know about it. I want to be honest, but not negative or depressing. Let them know that. And I would just give it all this extra information or not enough, but this is just a nice, concise question. So you're saying the single biggest lever is this step one of how you ask.
And I'll tell you a really good hack or cheat code, whatever you want to call it. My son's all about the cheat codes on his games. Is to just say, I'm not really sure how to construct the best prompt for this to get me the best outcome. So please guide me. Like tell it that you're dumb, like not that you're necessarily dumb and don't know how to do this, but if you're just not really sure how to start and how to do it right, just ask it to guide you because it knows better than you. It's got more than a PhD level education and everything that exists in the world, seriously. So treat it like the expert that it is in every single domain of life. Like I've used mine for processing a legal suit that I did without an attorney for one of our sellers. So, I've done really high level stuff with mine leading me and stuff that I've not had any experience with in the past. And which is not to say like, use it instead of an attorney, but it can do a lot to help you and it can streamline your work even with an attorney. If you kind of walk into an attorney and you already have something prepared and know what you're looking for, that's going to save you a lot of money and time with an attorney, whereas they can just review and kind of advise you from there. So that's just one example of what you can do. And I did that not because I have that background, but because I just told it what I needed and it walked me through it. So
Right.
definitely ask it for help when you need it. Don't feel like you have to know everything.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, and then 5 things that every good prompt is going to have. So role and context, you got to tell it who you are and what your situation is. Task and output format, and you can get really detailed, and I'll talk in a minute about how you can kind of preset some of this stuff. But you can have a normal conversation with it. Just realize the more that you have of this in there, the more of the output you're going to get like immediately. So task and output format, what you want and how it should be structured. So for example, sometimes I ask it to produce something for me and it'll give it to me in like a markdown file. And I'm like, that literally doesn't work for me. I need a PDF or a Word doc. So if you know a specific format that you want some sort of output in, just go ahead and tell it that on the front end, because otherwise you might have to retell it. Sometimes it'll ask you, and you could program it to ask you those kind of questions. But just know, like, just because it gives you something that you don't want, it's usually a you thing. You needed to prompt it differently to get what you wanted. And just follow up and tell it, no, like, that's not what I need. And it'll give you the right thing. And then constraints, if you want it to be something short and, kind of direct, you don't want it to be verbose. You want it to feel more professional rather than personal or vice versa. Define those things. If you do have an example, like I said, of former writing that you've done or something else that you see, maybe I've rebuilt some websites for myself to get them off of other platforms where they cost me money. So there's a lot that you can do with AI. And, I've said, hey, this is what I want to reproduce. This is the site that I own over at this other place. I want it to look just like this. And it'll give me
Okay,
exactly what I'm asking. Go ahead.
won't it? Okay, so why don't we do a live demo of this in the GPT in Scout that you created? So you taught me how to prompt. It's in the guide that is also available with Scout that everyone will be able to download in just a little bit here. And we can actually hear how it goes. What does it say? How does it walk you through? And it's all based on the stuff that you are talking about. And we can actually like try it out and put it into action. Does that sound okay?
Are you seeing it on my screen? Because I'm not exactly sure what just changed.
No, all I'm seeing is your original what we're covering tonight. But I can actually do it. I was gonna do it with audio, do it live. So
Oh,
so
yeah.
that everyone Yeah, so that everyone could hear my conversation with Scout. And I'll just make sure, does that sound good, guys? You want to hear how Scout actually works in the real world in analyzing proper deals? I want to see some heart showers. That's what I actually want to see. I want to see some heart showers 20 seconds behind, so I'm going to wait for you. But some thumbs up, some heart showers, some yes, we want to see it. Let me know what you want. I'm going to use Marlena's prompting. There we go. Thank you. I'm going to use Marlena's prompting guide for real estate investors. There we go. Okay. All right, now I'll do it. Okay, ready? Here we are. So this is Scout. Guys, welcome. And I am going to just read these prompts that I've got preset from Marlena's prods. All right. Okay, so I'm an investor in Edmonton and I'm looking to buy a rental property. I'd like you to help me to analyze to see if it works as a long-term hold. But before you answer me, ask me up to 5 clarifying questions that would improve your output. So I'd like things like strengths or risks of these properties.
Hey, fearless investor, I'm Scout, your fearless deal analyzer. I'm here to break down the numbers so you can confidently hold long term. Before we dive in, let's fine tune your inputs with a few clarifying questions. What's the purchase price of the property? What's the expected monthly rent? What type of property is it, e.g., single family, duplex, etc.? What's your target hold period, e.g., 5, 10 years? What's your expected financing strategy, e.g., conventional mortgage, private lender? Once we lock these down, we'll run the numbers.
Okay, that's like too many questions for me. So just ask me one at a time and then I will answer. And Marlena, can you hear this? Okay.
Absolutely, no problem at all. Let's keep it simple. First question.
Can you hear me, Marlena?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, and can you hear Scout?
Yes, all good.
Okay, sweet. So everyone, I'm just, because I can't have both screens open, I'm just making sure everyone else can hear. Can you hear it? Yes, we can. Okay. All right, I'm going to keep going. Sorry. Okay. So first question is what? Okay, so the purchase price is the 380,000.
Perfect. Next up, what's the expected monthly rent for this property?
It has 2 suites in it. So the basement suite will be about $900 a month. The upstairs be about $1,900 a month.
Great. So total expected rent would be $2,800 per month. Next step, what type of property is this? Like single family, duplex, or something else?
Yeah, it's a single family home, but it does have 2 suites. So it could be considered a duplex depending on the market. Yes.
Got it. So a single family home with a legal basement suite, effectively a duplex setup. Next question, what's your target hold period? How long are you planning to keep this property?
I like to go as long as I can, but let's say 10 years just for this sake.
Perfect. Awesome. Last one for now. What kind of financing are you thinking? Conventional mortgage, private lender, or something else?
Conventional mortgage.
Perfect. Thanks. Now that we have the key details, I'll walk you through the screening step. First, just confirming this is in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, right? Once we confirm that, we'll see if the rent covers the target.
Yes, it's in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Excellent. Let's lock in the rent roll for Edmonton. In Canada, we'll use 0.0065. So required rent is purchase price times 0.065. That's 380K times 0.065 is 2,470 per month. Your expected rent is 2,800. Let's see. The result is passed since it's above the required. Solid start. No red flags yet. Want to move into the next step?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Let's keep rolling. Next, I need to know what kind of neighborhood is this in? Like, is it a central up and coming area or is it more suburban? Just give me a sense so we can assess the property's location quality.
Yeah, it's more suburban. Yeah.
Got it. Suburban location. That's good context. Next step, I'll need your financing details. So first up, what down payment amount are you planning to put in? Just a percentage or a fixed amount?
20% down.
Perfect. With a 20% down payment, we'll get a good handle on your loan amount. Once you're ready, I'll ask for your interest rate so we can calculate PITI next. Let me know when you have that.
Interest rate's about 5%, let's say.
Perfect. Now just confirm the amortization period. Are you thinking the standard 30 years? Once we lock that in, I'll calculate PITI for you.
Yeah, you bet. 30 years is great.
Awesome. All right, I've got the pieces. So we'll calculate PITI, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, based on that 20% down, 5% rate, and 30-year amortization. Before I finalize, do you have estimates for monthly property taxes and insurance?
Insurance will be about $120 a month, and property taxes, I'm not actually sure. Can you help me with that?
Sure. The average annual property tax rate in Edmonton is about 1.0139% of the assessed value. For a $380,000 property, that's roughly $385 per year, or about $320 per month. Now that we have that, let's finalize the PITI calculation.
Awesome, let's do it.
All right, let's break it down. Your loan amount is 80% of 380K, so 304,000. Monthly principal and interest at 5% over 30 years is about 1,635. Add insurance, $120, and taxes, $320, and your PITI is about 2,075. Are we ready to add expenses next? Are we including vacancy maintenance and management?
Yeah, definitely. Vacancy maintenance and management, yes.
Got it. So we'll add defaults, vacancy at 5%, maintenance at 5%, and management at 10%. Once we total those, I'll calculate the final cash flow. Ready?
I am, but actually I'd like the management to be at 8%.
No problem. I'll adjust that. So management will be 8%, and we'll keep vacancy at 5% and maintenance at 5%. I'll run the
Perfect.
final expense calculation and give you the cash flow.
So it just says one. I'm just gonna let it work right now. So it says 1 sec. So just if you're familiar with these LLMs, you have to sometimes prod them again. So give it a minute, and it's gonna. We don't even have to give it a minute; it would come through. But what do you guys think? Like, pretty freaking cool, right? Like, seriously, I am so excited about this thing. Okay, and then I'm gonna stop talking and I'm gonna let it give its answer. All right, are you ready with an answer for me?
Absolutely. After adding up the vacancy 5%, maintenance 5%, and adjusted management 8%, your total expenses come to about $580 per month. After subtracting that from your $2,800 rent and your $275 PITI, your baseline cash flow is about $145 per month. Solid.
Okay, so 145 per month after all expenses. Okay, can you tell me what the cash on cash return for that? What does that make the cash on cash?
You got it. So first, let's figure out your total cash invested. Your down payment is 20% of 380K, so 76,000. Then we add closing costs.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it there. But isn't that amazing? Like, yeah, if you had a spreadsheet in your head, like some of you people do, and calculators in your head, then maybe you don't need this baby. But for me to just be like, do I want to continue looking at this thing, or do I not want to continue? Like, should I bother wasting more time? This has been just so much fun. Okay, I'm just gonna flip back into the comments here and see where you guys are at, see what questions you have. George, I did see that you had a question, and it said, like, will Scout give it to you in writing? And absolutely, yeah. So everything that I'm saying, you can either type it in, you can do it on desktop, or you can do it on your phone. And then yes, the answer is in writing. All right, let me see. Oh, hang on, there we go. That is crazy amazing, right, Karina? I totally like, yeah. Tyson, that's super cool. Wow. Okay, yeah. I am hoping you guys are as excited about this, but like I told Marlena, I am trying to keep myself down a little bit. Janie, incredible. So what's really cool, so Karina's in Edmonton, Tyson's in BC, Janie is in Ontario, and it will work for all of you guys, including Nin in Houston, Ida in New York, and Marlena. So it's crazy, this thing. And I hope that you're gonna like put it to the test, because it's so helpful. Yeah, totally an excellent tool. Can you get it to make you a pro forma? Yes, Gary, you can. Actually, what you can do, so you can get it to make you a pro forma, but what you also can do is just ask it to allow a download for you, so that you can just, and then you can use the Investor Life Fearless Investors pro forma. So yeah, at any point you can kind of try, not stump it, but you can ask it more questions like, what am I missing? What should I be thinking about? I'm going to do another one. Anyone want to hear another one? Anyone have a question? Yeah, you want to run your current properties on it and see what it says, right, Karina? Like, is this still a good investment? Like if I were going to buy it today, would this still make sense for me? What are some of the scenarios I should use? And this is where, again, with this download tonight that you guys are all going to get, Marlena has created a guide with it, and it's a prompting guide. And here's another one of her prompts that will help you, Karina, like to, what am I missing? Give me 3 points that are good, 3 risks. You know, what else should I be asking? Yeah, you can tell I'm trying to hold it back, right, Sarah? I am trying to hold it back though, for real. Okay. You still with us, Marlena? I should just check in with you.
Yes, I'm here, but I'm recognizing that we probably might need to do some more of the rest of it next time, since we're focusing on this time, and I think that people would really like to see the other parts of it as well. But this is, I think, so powerful for everybody right now. So I'm game to continue to go in this direction. So you just let me know what you want to do and we can demo this more, okay?
Amazing. Well, we're going to be together next week too. So, yeah, who knows, something maybe in there, but yeah, I would love for you to show the prompting guide and the stuff that you put together. And as you guys can see on Marlena's, or on our screen, Marlena is sharing the desktop version of it. I've got oh, that's Fearless. I've got it on my phone. And one note I wanted to say is after you've downloaded it, depending on the setup of your phone, it's not going to be your default chat. Okay, so your chat GPT is your default, but you will have to go into custom GPTs or maybe apps, depending on the settings, to find the Fearless Investors property analyzer. So just be aware that you will have to go and find it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be your default.
Tiffany, if I could step in just real quick on that note, if you can see on my screen, I do have a Plus account here, but you can do this on a free account. But here you see GPTs, and once you have opened the link and it goes into your account, you're going to see it here under the GPTs. And then you would just click on it there, and you can see it's got 2 options to help you find a good market to invest in or help you to analyze a rental deal. Each new session that you start is going to be its own chat history. But if you are already using ChatGPT, just know that it needs to say Fearless Investors Deal Analyzer up here to make sure that you're in that actual GPT, which you're going to find under this GPTs right here. Okay, so just keep that in mind. It's not going to automatically work in your regular conversations. If you were to click on new chat, that's not where it's going to work. You have to start in here. And you can always keep a conversation going in a session that you already had, which you would see history down here. You would just choose from the one that you're in. But starting a new one would be here under the Fearless Investors Deal Analyzer under GPTs.
Perfect. And George is saying, does it work the same way on your desktop and your phone? So it's very similar on my phone, George, as to what she just showed on the desktop. I use an Android. I don't know exactly how it works on each, but Nin uses iPhone, and she says, just head to your, what did she say? Just head to your, and voila. Head to your ChatGPT and voila, or your GPTs. That's what it said. So, okay. I'm going to do another run through because I think this is super cool for people to be able to hear how this is working. Again, you can be typing it in, George, but either way, it's going to have it typed and you can copy and paste your answers as well. But do you guys want to hear another one? This is one where we are actually considering asking it to analyze markets for us and specific neighborhoods, not just markets. Interface should be the same. Okay, awesome. Good to know. Marlena, I'm so excited. And I know I was like, okay, the technical stuff is okay, but let's get to the fun stuff. But I'm gonna let you get back to some of the technical stuff after. But we had to do this. Okay, yes, please. Yes, I agree, Karina. Okay, hang on. How do I get back to this? All right, here we go. Here's another prompt. Again, using the prompt guide that will come with this, with Scout GPT. And these are prompts specifically for real estate investors. Okay. So I'm trying to decide between two neighborhoods. One is Knotwood neighborhood in Edmonton, Alberta, and one is Collingwood neighborhood in Edmonton, Alberta. I'd like you to compare them head to head. So I want to know rental demand, price appreciation trends over the next 3 years, tenant demographics, anything else that would affect my investing strategy, which is either BRRRR or a long-term hold rental property. And my timeline to stick with it is about 10 years. Can you help me do that?
Nottingham, which is part of Sherwood Park near Edmonton, has a steady rental demand. The broader Edmonton area sees vacancy rates around 3.2 to 4.2%. The average home price in Edmonton is about 470,819, up 2.2% year over year, with a forecasted growth of about 4% in 2026. Overall, it looks like a stable long-term hold opportunity with steady equity growth rather than rapid jumps.
Which one does? The Nottingham one or the Collingwood one?
Sure. So for Collingwood and West Edmonton, the average rent is about $15.89 per month with a tight vacancy rate of around 0.3%. So there's strong rental demand. The broader Edmonton market has an average home price of about 470,819, up 2.2% year over year with a forecasted 4% growth in 2026. Overall, rental demand is strong, but price appreciation is steady, not explosive. So it's a stable long-term hold.
So which neighborhood would be better for me to look at holding for 10 years, having tenants that are decent, like, a little bit, maybe, a B tenant, not a C tenant, going to stay for a little longer, take care of my place. Which of those two neighborhoods would be best for that?
In Nottingham, which is in Sherwood Park near Edmonton, the neighborhood is quite stable and owner dominated, with about 3,380 residents spread across 1,238 units. It has a moderate household size, and 24% of residents are over 65, meaning tenant turnover is typically lower. This suggests a stable long term tenant base, often older professionals or downsizers. Let's now compare that to Collingwood.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. So again, super cool. We can have it do some of our analysis for us. Now, I just want to put some caveats in. It is not going to analyze your deal for you. You still have to do that. It is not going to be perfectly right. It's going to have nuances. We know this, right? This is AI. We can't depend fully on it. But can we use it as another set of eyes or ears? Can we challenge it? Can we say, give me the risks? That's the next question, but I'm going to leave that. But give me the risks of that neighborhood in Edmonton and this neighborhood in Edmonton. What strategy is best in this neighborhood? And why do you say that? Challenge me. So, okay, Marlena, I'm going to let you keep on going because I know that there's some of the prompting stuff that is super important, but saying things like, don't be my cheerleader, like challenge what I'm saying, don't let me lose money on this stuff. And then right after that, guys, we are going to throw in the chat all of the things that you can download, which is Scout. Again, congratulations, Corey, for naming it. So our Fearless GPT Scout. And the guide for prompting as well, specific for real estate investors.
Yeah, so I can't get my screens right here, but I'll run through this just really quickly. So based on what Tiffany was just saying, I just want to encourage everybody, do fact check anything that AI gives you if it's important information that you need to have correct. It's given me some wrong statutes for Florida that were like old information that they changed recently. So always fact check those like serious details. I also want to note that people in the United States might be operating on a little bit different of a formula depending, on the market. Some markets in the United States are more expensive than others. So if you feel like it's not giving you a valid output for what you're used to in your market, just tell it, hey, I'm in this market and this is what we usually use for our formula, and it'll adapt itself to you. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right.
Awesome.
And then
Yeah, it makes sense.
I'm just going to run through these like super quick. Tiffany, just stop me where you want to. I know we have very limited time left. But just know like I was just saying, it can make stuff up sometimes. It can really be a sycophant. You probably hear a lot of, kind of negative information about AI, about this stuff. So just challenge assumptions. Don't accept anything that it says designed to be validating for you. And it can hallucinate, like I just suggested, it can give you the wrong information. So just be careful. And then which LLM for the job? I have been using Claude mostly more recently. I originally was only using ChatGPT. I sometimes use Gemini. They're all good for different reasons. And with all of them, with a pro version of it, you can get them all free. But with a pro version, I'm spending $60 a month across all three. So, you get all sorts of plus or pro sort of benefits from that. But even just starting with them for free and toying around, there's other ones, Grok and DeepSeek and all sorts of different ones. So definitely explore and find them out. But Claude is the one that excels at all the benchmarks. It's the most intelligent one. I find that it is the most, it's the best for writing and for coding. And I also find it has the most human-like personality, in my opinion. I love ChatGPT. It's also the biggest sycophant, so I've had to program it to stop doing that for me.
Yes. So I think that word must mean like where it's just trying to make you feel like $1,000,000, where it's like, yes, exactly, you're so smart or whatever. And you're like, no, don't be my cheerleader. Like, actually tell me where I'm wrong. Is that word psychophony or something?
Yes, that's true.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I'll mention briefly, I was going to show it, but we don't have time. So if you can go into your LLMs and you can go into the settings and give it like custom, like a system prompt that says, or at least mine and my husband say, do not just tell us what we want to hear. When we propose an idea, treat it like you're a venture capitalist. And if you want to get other people's money to spend millions of dollars on this, shoot that down. So like we want like the real answer, not just you trying to make us feel good. And so, you can design your own or get the GPT or whatever to help you design that. But it's made a huge difference for us compared to what a lot of other people experience. And then I just
Yeah.
want to share, I have used some AI tools for real estate. I've done virtual staging for a rehab that we just sold recently. I use Otter AI. There's other ones out there to do, like when I'm in a Zoom meeting, it can take notes and record the meeting and all sorts of stuff. Perplexity is the best LLM to use for real research that you need to do. I mentioned the documents, for legal stuff earlier. Image and renovation tools. I had ChatGPT mock up, renovation sort of things for our recent rehab. And it did a great job and helped me choose the colors and mocked it up and I could see it ahead of time. And so it was wonderful.
So I know we do this segment, which is in Fearless for 1 hour. Like, can you believe it's been an hour already? And then we go into with our small coaching group, so our ignited members, which I know you know about them now, and we do like a Q&A, and it's a Zoom where they can come in and ask questions directly. So I would still love for you to show those things that you showed me before, but we'll just have to do it on we call it laser session in
Mhm.
ignited instead. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And you wanted to go over so at least we got through that first step. That's kind of like the basic stuff. And
Mhm.
then, yes, no, there is other stuff that you can learn, obviously. And then this is the manual that goes along with the GPT. So if you do download download it, it's just a link, but it'll go into your account. This is the manual to teach you how to use it. And I'll just kind of skim through here a little bit. Kind
And
of
I
tells you
don't
a little,
I don't know that we're seeing your screen properly, Marlena.
no.
So
I,
but I have it up right now.
okay,
So
perfect.
yeah, so we're right on the Meet Scout page, scrolling through down to the welcome and the kind of wavery stuff, what Scout does. Where would you like me to stop?
You can keep going. So this is just the basic stuff. It'll do market or deal analysis. It is programmed not to help you do anything outside of that. So it will politely tell you, I'm sorry, can't do that for you if you try and go too far afield from what it's actually designed for, just to keep that in mind. So you need to go to your regular GPT to do that. Go ahead and
Yeah,
move forward.
great. That's actually awesome, because then keeps those bars, because like those rabbit holes that you can go down, you've created those bars in there for us. And I do like, I'm just going to read this one part. You said, so Scout doesn't write emails or draft contracts or handle your marketing. That's intentional. It says a focus tool that gives better output than a sprawling one. So for everything else, the full REI AI playbook is coming soon. So this one, guys, is for analysis, market analysis, property analysis. But there is more coming. Like I said, we've been working with Marlena for a few months now, and we're working on a lot of stuff, and she's been working on this for a couple of years now. So it's coming. Okay, so now we're on the how to talk to Scout GPT page. Where would you like me to go?
Yeah, no, this is perfect. So this is kind of what I said earlier on, what a good prompt is going to have. So these are specific examples for real estate investors. So you can go ahead and scroll down.
Okay. To the next page, your prompt library.
Mhm.
Okay.
So there are some prompts in here, and it says start with one and go through. So you have market analysis first, and it looks like Tiffany was copying the one to give you the example, but you can copy and paste these directly into your GPT if you want to use them, and just fill in the information that's in the brackets with your actual location and information, and it will give you the output that you want. And of course, you can iterate off of these as well, or give it this and say, you know, this is a little bit different than my situation. Help me come up with a better prompt. I
Hmm.
highly
I love
recommend when you get a good prompt that you like, put it into a Google document so that you can save that for yourself. Okay. You can also, when you get to a point where you're developing your own custom GPTs, you can use some of these prompts to tell it, like, this is exactly what I want you to do. So that's a little bit more advanced, but this will help you get where you're going, especially with the one that Tiffany is gifting you this evening. So here's some additional prompts, deal analysis prompts.
Yeah, like these are exactly what you can literally copy and paste, guys. And they are specific to real estate investors. So we've been learning prompting from generic things all this time. I have yet to hear really good REI prompts until Marlena, because before that, and I've been doing this for a bit now, looking for it, it's just, it's not practical. It's like they say they work with real estate investors, but because they're not one, they just don't get the lingo, you know? And so with Marlena, she's literally got the stuff that she uses in her investing side of her business. And she's even got these pro tips in for each one of these prompts. Well, you could also ask it to do this or do that afterwards. And it's just, yeah, it's just awesome information. So just going through the prompts, as you can see, there's lots. This also comes with the GPT. So the link is in the chat, guys. If you want to see it already in our Facebook group, the link is in the chat. You will get this guide to how to use Scout, which is Fearless's new GPT, and also the GPT itself. So and then Marlena gives you a really cool little challenge. All right, if you're not quite used to this, here's a challenge for you. Today, do this. Next week, do this. Just to kind of get your feet wet into this whole world. And she's teaching you how to do it. In my opinion, she's teaching us how to do it the right way, because I know I've had to unlearn a lot of the stuff that I had learned at first. And now I'm just prompting different and prompting better. And it's just the outputs are so much better. Yeah, prepped prompts, right? All right, Fearless team, well done. Thank you. And Marlena, well done.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're incredible. So I would love to have you back on. I knew when we went over your information, I'm like, oh my goodness, we're gonna need more. There's so much information here. But the GPT is available right now in the chat, guys. If you're having any problems or if you want the GPT, just say GPT. Okay, say Scout. No, call it Scout. So say you want Scout, and we will make sure to also DM that link to you so that you have it and you don't lose it. Because right now in the chat, once this goes away, once this Tactical Tuesday goes away, you will lose that link. So we are going to be rolling this out. Tonight is night one. We're going to be rolling it out any and everywhere. Please share it if you think that it's cool. We would love for this to go far and wide. But there is so much more coming, you guys. We have a done for you CRM. If you're meeting with somebody who's a lender and you had your first conversation, your second conversation. You want to update them on a project. You want to have a website that's pre-built. You want emails that are preset to automatically send. You want all of these things that we need as investors, but have been just tedious. And it's one of the biggest conversations that has gone on and ignited over the years is, what do you use to organize stuff? What are you using for CRM? Do you use Monday? Do you use ClickUp? Do you use Asana? Do you use, Propertyware? Are you Buildium? What are you? And so that's where AI has really become super exciting for us as investors. And Marlena is working on a lot of these tools to get them really synthesized down to what we need as investors. And we're working back and forth quite regularly to make sure that we get all this stuff. So if I want to, there's one tip, Marlena, if you don't mind, that twin, and I haven't even played with it yet, but it's ridiculous already. So that twin SO or whatever, can you tell
Sure.
us about that?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really quite get into all the agency stuff, but I kind of mentioned it on the front end that there was something that you could do. So if anybody is interested in doing something where you can talk to it like an LLM and tell it what you want, and it can go and spin up different agents to go out and do things in the real world for you, which may sound like a lot if you're not really experienced with this stuff yet. But if you are interested in that, I personally have done a lot of the background techie work to get the OpenClaw thing going, but I would not recommend that to anybody, even to myself, to be honest. I really love twin.so. I've been struggling with it recently with the OpenClaw. It breaks when they update things, and you don't want to mess with that. So, but twin.so, I went and I talked to it like it was ChatGPT. It spun up agents. It said, give me this connection to your stuff. So it kind of automates the things. I had it posting to social media, doing a social media content calendar for me. We were strategizing together. It's really a one-stop shop for so many different things that you might want to do in this area. Like, I definitely think that the custom GPT is what you really want for your deal analysis. But if you have other things that you want to automate in your business, it's a really good place to start for beginners where you don't really have to have any tech knowledge. And Tiffany and I have an affiliate link. So if you would like to use it, you get some free credits with it. So I highly recommend go try it out, play around with it. I was telling Tiffany about it and she was like, oh gosh, like I need to see how I can use this. But I've used it
Yeah.
for so many things and it's amazing.
And so what I've been doing is, like, in February, especially, I spend like a good 2 weeks just head down in Claude Cowork and getting it to do jobs and creating skills for it to do the things that just need to run passively. And I love it and it's great, but it's like, you have to create it. And so what Marlena said to me yesterday was, this is kind of like getting agents on your own without having to create your own agents. And I was like, okay, you had me at hello right there. So I haven't had a chance to play with it yet, but I was like, yeah, okay, we definitely need to have you in. And we are 5 minutes over. Oh my goodness, I did not realize that. Okay, so those of you in Fearless, if you we will see you next week. We are doing AI for REI, so AI for real estate investing, part 2 next week. So join us, but download if you want the Scout, type Scout in. We'll make sure that we DM it to you so that you don't lose the link. Marlena, thank you so much. You're amazing, and we definitely have to have you back, and so much exciting stuff to come. Okay, we're gonna stop the live, guys. As you know, that always takes me a minute, so I'm gonna just stop that. And then Marlena, if you can just stick with us